leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC with Clive Bull. Call 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Tweet at LBC.
Hello, very good evening to you. If you've just tuned in, I'm Clive Bull and it's LBC and the business hour between now and 10 o'clock with Virgin Media Business. And what we aim to do in this hour is help you out if you are starting up a business, if you are a startup, if you're thinking about getting something going, you've just got the idea and you're wondering what to do next, or if you've already started up and you just want to get a bit of help with the next stage. With me is Emma Jones, a business expert, founder of Enterprise Nation, and joining us this week as well is Jim Duffy, the man behind Entrepreneurial Spark. We'll be finding out more about that. And if you've got a question or a point to raise at any point, then call us 0345 6060 973. You can text and tweet as well. Text 84850. You can tweet at LBC. But the best thing to do is call. It's also a great opportunity to give a bit of a plug to your business. If it's one that you're getting going, starting up, well, call us, tell us about it, and Emma can point you in the right direction. 0345 6060 973. Evening, Emma.
Good evening, Clive.
I think before we get on to startups, we might talk a little bit about kind of the opposite, and BHS. Bad news, really, because it's a very famous high street name that looks like it's going to disappear.
I know, you could say from start-up to fold-up, couldn't you? Which is a great shame.
I was looking for that phrase and it didn't come, but never mind.
You've had a long night already. No, it's a shame. I was reading today, 1928 was when their first store was opened in Brixton, and 146 stores I think they've got now, 11,000 people's job in jeopardy. So it hasn't folded yet, to be fair. So the advisors are in. They're looking to try and sell the company, but the thing that's holding that company back at the moment is £1 billion worth of debt, £500 million worth of pension liability. So you've got to ask the question is, who wants to take that on?
And I must admit, as a consumer, I obviously you feel sorry for the people who are going to be affected with the loss of work. But as a consumer, I look at it and I think, well, why would I ever have wanted to go there? It seems like a very dated kind of outfit and not got much consumer appeal.
Well, this is why it's in its troubles, and we've seen this a couple of times over now. So Woolworths, of course, went down in 2008, same kind of issue, and the issue with Woolworths, which is a similar kind of thing to BHS, is they were trying to be all things to all people. And of course, what we're seeing with small businesses at the moment that we love that are starting up is niche businesses. They keep their budget small, so they don't kind of open 146 stores all at once. They do pop-ups, they kind of keep their budgets all under control, and I think what BHS failed in is they failed to modernise. So as I say, we saw this with Woolworths. They disappeared off the high street in 2008. BHS hasn't quite kept up with the times. And if you look at the competition at the moment, all the retail competition in terms of small businesses getting started, going online, all this talk of omni-channel, so selling via the high street, selling online, selling using digital technologies, BHS just didn't keep up to date with that. And of course, now they're seeing the problems that arise from not making sure that you constantly innovate.
Yeah, and there are already, in the light of the BHS news, articles coming out about the end of the high street and a lot of gloom and doom. Would you say that, I mean, from a small business point of view, there is some light there?
Oh my goodness, I think it's the start of the high street for small businesses. Good. Absolutely. And in fact, if there's one thing that I'd love to see, so 146 BHS stores sadly may go down, even though, as I say, all the advisors are in trying to sell them off. And if anything, they may have to sell them off one by one. So hopefully there will be uses for those stores. But for small businesses, I genuinely think we're about to see a resurgence of small businesses hitting the high street. The Chancellor back in the budget did a brilliant thing by erasing business rates for about 600,000 small businesses. So he's brought in no rates if the value of your property is less than £15,000. And what we think this will do is, if you think there's 5 million small businesses operating in the UK, lots of them are online businesses operating from home. These home-based online businesses who've always wanted the opportunity to meet their customers face-to-face, test out the high street presence. No business rates now means that's going to give them the opportunity to give it a go. So what we'd love is, it is very sad that a big giant falls in its place, what we'd love to see is lovely, loads of little small businesses and independents moving into that space.
Yeah, well, if you are starting something up, whether it's a retailer or a completely different idea, then give us a call if you'd like to put a question or raise a point. 0345 6060 973. Let's bring in Jim Duffy as well from Entrepreneurial Spark. I saw you were sort of nodding with what Emma was saying there. Do you agree about the high street?
I think it all depends on the business models. If you look at John Lewis, they've got the bricks and clicks model right. They're close to their customers, and they've also got the buy-in from their staff with all the share options. So everyone wants to do the right thing. And you look at companies like Next. So Next is sitting there. It's always in the catalogue, so it keeps close and it's got that customer intimacy. So if you get the business model right, then there's always going to be space for you on the high street.
And actually, interesting, you mentioned John Lewis, but one of the things that they've kept in touch with is their customers wanting to do click and collect. So they were one of the first ones, even though I hear it's causing a little bit of an issue now, because John Lewis customers who do want to click and collect, all the deliveries are being caught at Waitrose, and no one can buy food in Waitrose anymore because all the queues are waiting for the John Lewis stuff. But what it does show is that they went out to market, could see what their customers wanted, and said, right, as quickly as possible, we'll see if we can deliver it for you. So responding to that customer feedback.
So tell us a little bit about Entrepreneurial Spark then, the kind of advice that you offer.
So Entrepreneurial Spark's a social enterprise. So we're now the world's largest equity-free business accelerator. So there's lots of business accelerators out there that'll bring people in and they'll give them a wee bit of money and take some equity. We do it free of charge with our backers NatWest. And the whole point is we bring people in. We give them up to 18 months of entrepreneurial enablement. So we've got a proprietary process, and we don't actually look at the business, we look at the person. So we're a people accelerator. So it doesn't really matter what the idea.
What do you mean when you say accelerator? I hear this term a lot. For the uninitiated, what's a business accelerator?
So people will have an idea, and generally they would normally go to an accountant and go to a lawyer. They would start a business and create a share agreement and go to a bank and get a loan. It was all quite slow, a slow process. You come into an accelerator space, and the whole idea is that you're with like-minded people, and you're with people who have got access to finance and can make you more credible, backable, investable that a bit quicker. So the idea is that instead of maybe taking a year, 2 years to get to a certain growth point or a certain inflection point in your business, you can do it within 6 months.
And is it a competitive process? So do you turn people down if you don't think they're right?
We do. So we take people in from pharma to artificial intelligence and from cupcakes to gin. So
You've said that so many times before, haven't you? That was so well rehearsed.
We're sector agnostic. So the whole idea is, if someone, we want to give everybody a shot at, we call it not entrepreneurship, but entrepreneuring. So if someone's got the look in their eye and the spark in their belly that says, I'm going to be all in and have a real good go at this, then we'll work with them. And we'll work. 9 times out of 10, the idea they come in with 6 months later is not the idea they've got, because they've pivoted into something different. And
how do you work it with mentors? Because as you say, and I think Entrepreneurial Spark is amazing, as you say, that you don't take equity, it's free of charge for the business owner that's coming in. And actually, just on that, how many of the businesses are still working a day job when they come through Entrepreneurial Spark?
So that's lots of people finance their entrepreneuring career with a job, and we would say, make sure you're validated, make sure you've got something there before you jump off into this shiny world of the entrepreneur. So I mean, they come in all shapes and sizes. The average age surprisingly is 37. So everyone says, they think, the idea is that entrepreneurship's a young person.
16, yeah.
No, 37. By that time, they've usually got some baggage. They've got a family, they've got a mortgage, they've got credit cards. So it's really important that they think it through before they jump off.
And the mentors, you surround these businesses with mentors and advisors. Where do you get them from? Who are they?
There's different types of mentors. So there's your corporate mentor, so people who have got a specialism like marketing or branding in a corporate environment, and they're interested in coming and giving back, so that is quite niche. And then you've got people who've ran businesses. So you've got people who've maybe sold a small business and they want to give back, and then the mentorship then can turn into a commercial arrangement where they become a non-executive director or they invest in the business. They're also good ones as well.
And how many of the businesses, I wanted to ask you this, so you've got how many hatcheries now? You call them hatcheries, accelerators. How many have you got?
We've got 9 at the moment, and we're opening, so we interviewed today we're opening in Milton Keynes and Cardiff and Newcastle. So that's 3 more we're going to open in August, and then in August next year, the big one in London.
Amazing. So truly nationwide. You started in Scotland and you've kind of come south ever since, which is brilliant. How many of the companies that you've helped, how many of them go on to get investment, or do they not need that? Because what you do so well is you help the businesses get their sales up and running. So do they need investment or not so much?
So our mantra is credible, backable, investable. So we've raised, our businesses have raised over 50 million in private investment. We've brought in over 100 million in turnover. So from that seed investment, or maybe the average seed investment in the UK is around about 150,000. So lots of them coming in, and then they're moving from that start-up to the early stage of maybe 350, 500,000, and it's really interesting to watch them grow to that, and their mindset grows as well. So we talk about the growth mindset in the entrepreneur.
There was something today in the press that said, I hear this too many times, and I'm never quite sure whether I agree with it, that we can't produce scale-up growth businesses in the UK because there isn't enough funding available. So businesses still have to go to America to find this kind of big tranche fund. Do you agree with that, or?
So it's interesting. Sherry Couturier wrote a fantastic report on scale-up, but what's happened is it's entered the lexicon of business startup, and people think you go from Friday, you do start-up, and then on Monday you do scale-up. But we've done 6 months of research on pre-scale, so there's a whole piece, like you don't climb a Monroe on the Friday and then go and do Everest the next day. There's a whole piece of prepping prepping your team, prepping your functions before you go for that finance. But the finance is there. There's money there if you have got the right personality, the right team, the right entrepreneur and the right proposition.
And if you've got a person who you think is brilliant, say creatively, but you just kind of think, oh my goodness, I'd never leave them with a spreadsheet of accounting, can you also match them with people who would kind of suit their skills?
There are many people who enter startup who are creative and they've got brilliant ideas. The ideas person, they should never be the CEO. That's right. So sometimes you have awkward and meaningful conversations for the best of them, the business. Bringing a co-founder in really early is a smart thing to do, to share the burden, so you fill each other's gaps, and then when one's down firing in one cylinder and one's in three, then it all starts to work really well.
We're going to take some calls in a moment. If you would like to join the conversation, maybe you are thinking about starting something up, or you've already done it, whatever your point or your question, call us now. 0345 6060 973 is the number, LBC. I'm Clive Bull. This is the Business Hour, and it's 9:15. It's the Business Hour here on LBC. I'm Clive Bull, and with me is Emma Jones, founder of Enterprise Nation, and Jim Duffy from Entrepreneurial Spark. And we're taking your calls about your startup business. 0345 6060 973. Gareth in Edgware. Hello, Gareth.
Hello there, how are you?
I'm good. What would you like to say?
Well, I like listening to your programmes anyway, Clive.
Good.
A very good balanced view. I was listening to this Business Hour,
yeah, and
you gave me the opportunity to talk about my business. We're 3 years old, so I suppose technically we're still sort of in the start-up phase. I'm always interested in hearing new ideas about how to expand it. I've got ambitions to turn it from, well, when we started, a £30,000 a year company now, and we're now just hitting 200,000 in the third year, and we want to move it to be £1 million to £1.5 million business within 3 to 4 years. So it's just how to scale it. That's the daunting aspect of it, I suppose.
Gareth, it's Emma here. I'd say you're almost halfway there by the fact you've got the vision to do it. So I love the fact it sounds like you've got a plan that over the next couple of years you are looking to increase turnover. By the fact you've called the radio, do you want to tell us what the name of the business is, to just kind of carry on with that pitch so that anyone who might be listening can call you and you can make some sales tonight?
That's very sweet of you. All right. We are callout.tel, T-E-L, Limited. What we do is we represent esoteric and service industries as an outsourced telemarketing arm. So we don't sell things, we sell ideas. And the idea is that we're about building that trust, or that thin veneer of trust, that can take place over a number of touches. If you will, it's kind of based around a Dale Carnegie influenced 7-stage open plan sales technique. So it's multiple touches, build building relationship that leads to repeat business.
And do you do that via the phone? By the fact it's a telemarketing business, isn't it? So you do all of... Wow, 7 touch points via the phone. That's incredible.
Well, no. What we do is we bounce back to the client, whoever the client happens to be. If there's a request, usually there's a request, second or third touch in, for what we refer to as a convincer, which is like a document, usually with links to previous work or anything that gives them the oomph to be able to demonstrate their mettle. So, case studies, that sort of thing. But the last line of it should be along the lines of one of our team will be back in touch with you within the next 2 to 3 working days, and we hope to be able to discuss this document with them, because everybody likes being a critic.
And I take it you are generating sales for your clients, which is how you've gone from 30,000 to 200,000. So is there any way you could start taking commissions on these sales, or do you get it on a flat fee?
Do you know, in my history, I have been a salesman. It's all been based around commission. But I looked at the marketplace, and there tends to be 2 ways forward for telemarketing at the moment, and we wanted to do something radically different. One is you pay for each lead, and the problem with that, it has a psychological negative effect on the callers. You want the callers to be pretty much on their game at all times and feel like they're part of the deal. And if you make it so that they're constantly trying to push for a close, and they haven't really made that much headway with their client or their prospect that they're talking to, you can end up with them begging for begging for a meeting.
Yeah.
That's the worst kind of meeting that can be booked.
Yeah.
Or the other effect is it can make them feel so down that you have to talk them back up again and bring them up and give them some further training, some role play, just to get them back into it, and that's time ineffective as well.
So you found a way to monetize what you do without, as you say, demotivating the people who are making the calls, which is fantastic.
Well, yes and no. I mean, from a business standpoint, yes, if I was taking commission work through it, then we could probably monetize it far faster. What we do at the moment is very much defined by the number of hours work that we throw at a project. So we charge a flat rate per hour in 4 hourly blocks. But what makes us different from pretty much anybody else in this marketplace right this second, until somebody else hears this message, no doubt, is that we work on a week's rolling contract. So you're never tied in for any longer than a week.
Okay, nice. So my other thing, I know Jim's desperate to give you some ideas for expansion. One, because I love the fact you have got a niche. We talk about niche businesses so much on the Business Hour in terms of, the sector that you're focused on. One thought I would have as to whether you could maybe look at international expansion. So you're kind of doing it for the sector here. Oh, I think Jim was going to give you that as one of
Go on then, Jim. Get in there, Jim. Tell us about international expansion.
Oh, what's it going to I think, so I agree with you. He's in a niche. He's in a niche area, but he's also operating in a bloody red ocean right now, and he really has to work out what his brand is and get that branding right and the essence of it, so that his customers can connect with him and they're going to come back to him and come back to him. The other thing I think is really important, can I ask you a question? How did you get to 200,000 revenue?
We basically found that we were focusing really heavily on digital marketing and the designer end of the market. So creatives who are great at producing products and service, but not great at finding new business, because they're not great at broaching subjects on the phone. And we're past masters at that. So what we try and do is we try and track down, and we found that there are 2 areas that we're particularly good at: representing heavy engineering-based software and that sort of thing. So again, technologists who aren't very good at representing themselves, or creatives.
So it sounds like you've got a bit of a secret sauce. Do you feel you have a secret sauce?
All I would say is, once you've defined your marketplace, it's all about the data.
Yeah.
80 to 90% of the success of anything we ever do is about getting the most focused, the most defined data set we can get. And we tend to, once we've got that, then it's about, obviously, when you're actually making contact with these people, it's about how you put yourself across and how you pitch. But in actual fact, the data is the essence behind it. If you've got the right data, you tend to find people are willing to listen to your message.
And what about your staff? I would say one of the most important assets in your business is your telemarketing staff. What input do you put into training? So if you're going to expand this, if you're going to expand it and get to that 1.5 million, a lot of that's going to be about people and bums on seats. So what plan have you got in place for that?
Well, it's very hard for us. We've only lost one person in 3 years. All the people that work for me have either worked for me when I've been working for other companies, or they've worked in competitors and I've gotten to know them really well. I've kind of run out of all the people I've known, and now I've got to find others of equal caliber, and that's the hard part.
Yeah, that sounds like it. Gareth, thank you very much for telling us about that. LBC, let's go to Ota in Edgware as well. Hello, Ota.
Hello.
Hello, Ota. Tell us about your business.
Right. 2 years ago, I started designing T-shirts and party bags for kids. And then the parents wanted a bit of the action in terms of T-shirts, like, oh, we want T-shirts too. So I went, okay, it's supposed to be a kids' business, so let's get the T-shirts done for the adults. And then I started working from a little space in my home, and in under 12 months, I found that I couldn't do most of the work at home anymore. So I got myself a very small office on the high street, about 10 minutes walk from my house. And then while I was there, I began to see other opportunities as well. And I started teaching people how to sew, and the ages start from 4+ to adults. And then within 12 months, my office became too small, and next week I'm actually opening up a retail outlet.
You should be taking on BHS, Ota. Go and see which store they're selling in London.
You see, the funny thing is, it doesn't look like work to me, because what I do at the moment is about craft, and crafting is who I am. So on a daily basis, I just see myself going to play with glitter and fabrics and stuff. So I don't really see it as a job, but when you look at it from where I started and where I am now, it's sort of a big leap. In 2 years, I've gone from working in a little room to opening up a retail outlet.
Ota, you're the best kind of business story to me, because first of all, as you say, you're doing what you love, and secondly, you make it sound so straightforward. Oh, I started working from home, then I had a little outlet, now I'm moving on to a bigger one. So you do, for anyone else listening, they'll just be like, I'm so starting a business, because that sounds like a breeze, which of course we all know it's not, because you've got to put lots of hours into it. So what's your plan? So you're looking to move into the bigger space, and are you diversifying your products then to go to focus on kids and adults?
Yes. The short answer is yes. When I started, it was for kids, but now it's like a family shop. So there's something for boys, there's something for girls, there's something for men, there's something for women. So there's something for everyone. Something for everyone.
And are you going to do a big opening of the new shop?
Not now, because I've sort of run over budget, so I'm trying to, scale back now, claw back some money, and then I'll do, a proper launch. But for now, I'm just going to open up my door, because it's really exciting. The community has really embraced, the idea of what I'm doing, because people see it as different, but I just see it as me doing me. Normally you have a fabric shop, or you have a little business that teaches people how to sew, and then you have another business that does customized T-shirts, personalized shoes, and all that.
What's your business called, by the way, Ota? I don't want you to go without telling us what it is.
Oh, it's called Lucci and Ota.
Lucci and Ota, excellent. And what I'm getting there from Ota is that she is her business. Do you find that a lot, Jim?
People buy people, and the best businesses are built on emotion. So I just want to go and visit her shop tomorrow and buy something. And the fact is, she's got the community around her. So the community could help with the PR launch, but see this business here, if she gets it right and she starts to use things like Twitter and get herself out there, this would be a fantastic business that people would want to crowdfund. Because what you can do, Otis, is you can give them a free t-shirt or give them a reduced price t-shirt, and then you start to get your logo and your brand on it, and all of a sudden start to talk about you as the person, because people love to have that human being behind the product.
Yeah, great stuff, Ota. Good luck. Thank you very much. We'll take more calls shortly. 0345 6060 973 is the number. I'm Clive Bull. This is LBC and the Business Hour. We're taking your calls about your business. Emma Jones is here and Jim Duffy. 0345 6060 973 is the number. Now, this week with Virgin Media Business, we're finding out how to turn a great idea into a successful business and hearing about the challenges faced along the way. It's thanks to Virgin Media Business's Voom 2016 campaign, where you can pitch to Richard Branson for the chance to win a share of £1 million in prizes to start up or grow your business. And today I'm joined by Jem Misa, founder of Collie Rice and finalist of last year's campaign. Jem, good evening to you.
Hello, Clive.
Thank you for coming in. So tell us first about Collie Rice.
Collie Rice.
Yeah.
So Collie Rice is, we make the very first long life, ready to heat version of this new diet phenomenon, cauliflower rice. If you haven't heard about cauliflower rice, it's something that people like Jamie Oliver, Helmsley and Helmsley sisters talk about. It's basically a great new way of swapping out rice, very high calorie rice, with cauliflower that's prepared so it looks and it tastes like rice, but with 75% fewer calories. Now the problem is, so my husband and I got the idea because we used to make it at home. The thing is, we run two businesses. We have a 5-year-old daughter running around the house, and there are days when it just gets too busy. You're too busy to just spend the time doing it. So we thought, it'd be amazing to have a ready to heat long life retail pack of such a fantastic product. And in fact, we were so surprised that there was none out there, because we thought it's such a simple idea. I'm sure someone's thought about it already. And that's kind of how we stumbled on it.
And how did you then get it going as a business? How did you get it off the ground?
Oh, wow. It wasn't easy. From that supposedly very simple idea, it took us 3 years to perfect. We realized why no one's come up with it, because technically no one's done it. No one had done it before. And we had to work with food technicians, to come up with a way of cooking the cauliflower rice with no preservatives and cooking it in a bag to give it the 12-month shelf life and give it the same great taste as fresh cauliflower rice, but without the hassle. It was just an idea that we came up with on the kitchen table, and we had no finances to start the business. And I think, like a lot of entrepreneurs out there can relate, my husband and I just rent an apartment. We don't have any big assets to guarantee against business loans, so we were getting turned down by banks, even though we felt like we had such a strong idea, and it took a lot. It was a very big challenge for us to find the finances to take it from a kitchen table idea to building a factory and getting it into the 2,000 supermarkets that it's in now.
What sort of support was there out there for you?
Well, I mentioned there wasn't much support from the banks, unfortunately. At that time, luckily enough, I was familiar with the concept of crowdfunding. Now, this is a great idea, a great concept, which I'm not sure if you spoke about earlier in the show. It's a great opportunity for people who wanted to invest as little as £10 into a business and help finance entrepreneurs, help bringing their ideas to life. At first, we were a bit worried. We thought people might find the idea weird, cauliflower rice, and we weren't quite sure people would share the same vision of trying to get people to eat more healthily. But we were hoping to raise, I think it was 300,000, and we ended up raising over £2 million.
Fantastic.
To be able to build a factory. This was over 3 crowdfunding rounds, but we took it from an idea to perfecting the product to building the very first factory. We also managed to get some support from the government, because we are helping farmers as well, because cauliflower sales have gone down by 80% in the last 3 decades, and we're trying to reinvigorate the industry. So we were taken aback by the amount of support we were able to get from people and the government. It's been absolutely amazing.
And what would you say would be the biggest challenge of all of that then? Was it the product?
The product would have been the biggest challenge. The fact that we had to create the technology from scratch, and that's a reason it took us 3 long years to develop. And it was something that we slowly, we'd put all our personal savings into and try to just work at it. And there were so many points where we thought, we were going to give up, but we thought it's such a good idea. And just to be able to give people the option of enjoying meals without having to worry about the calories of rice and all the health related risks that are with when you have too much carbs, and so we just pushed on, and at the end of it, we came out of those 3 years with a product that we were really, really happy with. And because it was so unique, we were able to patent the technology. So now we have a global patent on the technology as well.
In terms of, we're talking about startup businesses and people who may be just getting going, what kind of advice can you give, having been through all of that?
I think it's that you should always look for proof of concept. You have an idea and you think it's a fantastic idea, but before pouring all your personal savings into it, and you should always go and try and prove that the idea works first on a small scale. So if you have, say, for example, a certain sauce that you want to sell to supermarkets, before spending on packaging and raw materials, you should try as much as possible. The great thing about food businesses like myself is you can come up with recipes and go to supermarket buyers, and if they like it, they should be able to give you an idea of how much they want to sell the product for, how much they'd be willing to buy, so that you'd be able to mitigate the risks that a lot of startups would face.
Have you managed to get it in? Where can we buy it?
We are in...
I'm keen. I think it sounds brilliant.
I should have brought samples. I rushed out. I quickly ran home, fed my daughter, and rushed here. And the moment I got here, I realized I forgot the samples at home. But you can buy it in close to 2,000 supermarkets now. We are in Tesco, Waitrose, Sainsbury's, Asda, and loads of wholesalers, and we're getting into 2 other national supermarkets in July. And if you still have difficulty finding us, you can buy the product on our website, collyrice.com.
Fantastic. Well, what a story. Thank you very much indeed, Jem, for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
And thanks to Virgin Media Business. And find out more about their Voom 2016 campaign at lbc.co.uk. It's the Business Hour here on LBC. 0345 6060 973 is the number. We go to Rashida in Colchester next. Hello, Rashida.
Hi, how are you?
Very good. What can we do for you then? What would you like to say? Tell us about your business.
Basically, I've opened up my second bridal business. So we've got one bridal shop in Melton Mowbray at the moment, and a couple of weeks ago we opened our second boutique in Baddingham, which is a small village 3 miles from Framlingham. But what's special about our boutique is that we don't have a shop front, so we don't benefit from walking customers. So we rely purely on our advertising and our marketing to get people to the boutique, because it's a one-to-one personalised service. So when brides come there with their bridal party, they have the whole space to themselves, so there's no onlookers, and they get all the privacy and comfort. So it's not just about selling a dress, it's about the whole experience. And when you're spending that type of money, people want to feel special, because it's hopefully they'll only do it once, and it's a special time for them. So that's what's unique about our boutique.
And in terms of any help that Emma can give, what kind of advice would you be looking for?
So basically, so far we advertise mainly on Facebook and wedding fairs, and that works really well for us, because we can target adverts and send them out to people that are looking for wedding dresses of a particular age, and we do get a lot of traffic through the online avenue. But just any other ideas of how we can attract people to the shop, because we feel like we stock amazing dresses. We've got Pronovius, Atelier Pronovius, Suzanne Neville, which is worn by a lot of the celebrities, Madison James, Allure. And so with the dresses that we have and the service that we provide, we know it's a great experience, and hopefully people will find an amazing dress. So it's just about getting people there. So what advice has she got, as apart from our online avenues and wedding fairs, has she got to get people to the shop?
Well, Rashida, thanks for calling in. I loved it when you were going through all of those dressmates. You're speaking to somebody who's never got married, so this is like a whole new world to me, but I love the sound of all the designers you've got, and congratulations on opening your second shop, because I think that's brilliant. And I don't know if you heard earlier in the show, we were talking about big shops shutting down, but saying that small businesses are hitting the high street, so you're absolutely evidence of that. So I guess a little bit of advice I'd give, by the sounds of it, you are doing your online marketing well. So you mentioned Facebook. I'm sure you're on Twitter, Instagram and Pinterest, because so many brides now are using kind of Pinterest boards as their inspiration for their wedding. So I'm sure you're doing a lot on there. The one thing I can think of is it's news that you have opened your second shop. So I think a nice idea would be to pitch the local media to say, look at this success story. You sound quite young, forgive me, but there could be an angle in, you know, young entrepreneur opening second shop, bringing activity to the high street. And then the other thing, we were talking about this with an earlier caller, is maybe do an event to launch your second showroom. Events are brilliant opportunities to invite in the local media, get a photographer who can be a mate, or somebody even from the local photography college, so that they'll do photography in exchange for free. And then if they take pictures, share that across social media, that gives you a news angle to say, we're here, we're on the high street. And then I'd say do partnerships and collaborations with lots of people in the community who are reaching out to your groups. So Mumsnet, Net Mums, who are kind of online groups, but go to local mums groups. Mind you, they may have already got married, so maybe go to local singles groups and the nightclubs to kind of find the ladies who are just about to get married. But as I say, I'd use the opportunity of that second showroom opening as a local media story, and as I say, use the event of the opening of the showroom as a hook to get yourself known. But best wishes with that.
What do you think, Jim?
I think well done for opening your second shop. One's enough, but two is fantastic. So you've scaled up fast. I think some of the customers you've got coming through are going to love that experience. So the dress fitting is just one of the things that the mothers and everyone, the whole bridal party love. They love to be around that. So you connect emotionally with them. Can you get them to think about tweeting their whole day, tweeting the dress, the whole, and get people to take pictures? Then you collect that on your website, and then with that, when they buy into that, they will tell other people, and the whole dress, and then your website starts to get tagged on LinkedIn and all these different things. And I think it's a clever way of, so rather than just make it a one-off purchase where they come and buy the dress and they go away, you want them to think about you for life, for all their friends and all their people at work and all their colleagues, and you become the person that they think about.
Yeah, great advice, Rashida. Thank you very much. Good luck with that. More calls coming. 0345 6060 973 is the number to call. And we're going to Drew in Watford next. Hello, Drew.
Hi, Clive. How are you? Hey, well.
Yes, very good. What would you like to tell us about?
Well, thanks very much. I am considering myself an entrepreneur who started up an online enterprise about 5 years ago. Jim, a lot of the stuff you were talking about at the beginning of this show, I wish that I had that sort of advice and accelerator and support at that time. And it was very difficult at that time to find mentors to help the startup, but I can see a lot of that happening. Now, our business has been running for the last 5 years, pretty much. When I say our business, I've been the core of most of the factors. It's an online education subscription website for a very niche industry. We are now at a stage where without any marketing, we've grown to a level where we need investment in order to scale up and grow further. But the investment we're looking for is very interesting because it's slightly higher amount than what the startups would require. However, it's not high enough for venture capital. So we are kind of the middle ground. And it's a big challenge because it almost feels like very few people want to take a punt at the middle ground as such. And I wondered what sort of advice you could give or tips you could give to help our business in that level.
So the middle ground's an interesting area. A lot. Can you give us an idea of what you're looking for? Is it 350, 400, 500?
Bang on, 350 to 500. You're a smart guy.
Thank you. But that's an
He's about to say he's going to invest now you've said that.
It's interesting because investors are motivated also by what they can invest tax-wise, and SEIS is a great way for them to save on their tax burden. When you start to move into EIS, that changes, so there are less investors, and they like to have invested at the SEIS just to see how you've done. That's up to 150,000, to see how you execute, see what traction you get, how you use the money, how do you build your team, and how you've really validated it to make sure, can you monetize it at that stage. So then moving into that next round of investors, they're a little bit more sophisticated. Their due diligence is more complex. So that's why they're more sparse on the ground. But they are out there if you look for them.
Right, okay. I mean, we have been looking at quite a while, and I know the business has its strengths and weaknesses, and one of the biggest weaknesses is that my business largely revolves around what I do, and we keep looking around. So we've tried online investment networks, and I've taken some people on board to help me through it, and that's the stage I'm at present.
How big is your team?
As I say, we have people who help, but the team is largely myself.
Right.
I have people who come in as and when we need them on a sort of contract basis.
Okay, so that will be an issue for your more sophisticated investor who's looking at the 350 plus. They'll be looking for a team. The old adage, if you fall under a bus the next day, who's going to look after their investment? So could you think about bringing on a co-founder? The other thing that I would say, if you don't have anyone just now, if you looked and said in your business plan, these are the 2 or 3 key hires. Here's the first people that I'm going to bring in. I've identified them. I know where they work. I know their skill set. I know how much I'm going to have to pay them. And I know how much it's going to take them away their notice period. So if you come to an investor with that, then you de-risk it in their heads. So they're thinking, this person really knows about how to build a team. And that's so important at the stage of investment you're looking for.
Okay, good luck, Drew. Thank you. I want to try and squeeze in Tola in Croydon as well. Hello, Tola.
Hello, hi, how you doing?
Hi, good. We've got a couple of minutes. What would you like to say?
Right, basically, I started my business 2 years ago. It's an accounting service stroke property maintenance business. And last year, I had a turnover of about 18,000, and this year, by the end of the month, which is the end of the company year, I should be having a turnover for about 42,000. And obviously, I've almost more than doubled the turnover. But my main concern, looking at next year, trying to have like a plan for next year, is what advice would you be able to give on how to grow a business? Because my business is slightly saturated business environment. So what advice would you give to grow a business with limited funds on advertising?
Well, Tola, first of all, I feel as if I'm congratulating every caller who's calling tonight. So doubling your turnover, well done. In terms of standing out in a saturated market, and it sounds, again, something we've spoken about a lot this evening, you're in a niche market. It sounds like you've said that property is your focused sector. You've got to just kind of think what makes you different. And I wouldn't necessarily say spend on advertising. What I would say is maybe look online to do your promotion. So if your customers are finding you online, make sure that you're across all of the major kind of social media platforms. But look at raising your profile in terms of becoming an expert in the area that you deal in. So if that is property, can you do things like publish an ebook? Can you kind of do DIY webinars using kind of YouTube and just filming them using an iPhone? So I'd say, can you become the expert in your field so customers are just coming across to kind of come and look for you? And that's a good way to stand out in a saturated market.
Would you agree with that, Jim?
Absolutely. You've got to keep niche. I think also what you need to get out there with the property, there's a select people in that whole game and in that whole segment. Get out there and get networking. Make sure you've got your business cards. Make sure they know who you are and that you're competent. Also, get on LinkedIn, get on the property groups, join them all, start debates, start blogs and start conversations so they know that you're the person, you're the go-to person.
Okay, good luck, Tola. Thank you very much indeed. We're just about out of time, so apologies if you were waiting to tell us about your business, but we will have another business hour next week. Jim Duffy, thank you. How do we track you down on Twitter or online?
It's at eSpark Global. At eSpark Global.
Okay, and Emma, of course, we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
At the same time. Don't forget, you can listen to LBC whenever you want and wherever you are.